Hello everyone, this is Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. I've done a couple of readings on Nancy Pelosi on my Patreon page, and there's a link to that in my channel information and in that drop down menu just below the readings. I haven't shared them on my YouTube channel simply because there was a lot of ambiguity around them. I read twice. So the first time it showed she wouldn't be the Speaker of the House, and that was before I guess it really started to impact in the press. So it was kind of like a straight reading, unencumbered with anything else or any other energies. And it showed that, there were a lot of battles around her as, becoming the next speaker. Well, of course, we know that's happened. Now, the second reading I did on her showed a woman coming forward, and that was indeed representative of the former chairperson of the Black Caucus, I think Fudge. What's her first name? Let's just have a look. Sorry, I should have really found this out before I started. But I can, I do a lot of research, so bear with me. Marsha Fudge, Representative Marsha Fudge, okay. But she's now since come out, and again there was ambiguity. So first of all, it showed that she wouldn't be the Speaker, Nancy wouldn't be the Speaker. Then it showed that a woman was challenging her, and indeed those sort of things kind of, came forward. But Fudge has since put her weight behind Pelosi as Speaker, and sort of really one by one we're seeing the different factions in the House fall back in line behind Nancy Pelosi. So I want to see if the cards were picking up this incredible battle around it that I've interpreted as her not being the Speaker, or indeed she is going to be the Speaker. It's just going to be a difficult path to it. So, and then I want to, immersed in all of that reading, I want to find out then if Nancy Pelosi will be the next interim president if Trump and Pence go down in the Mueller probe. So let's just go back to the beginning again. We know that she's battling. We know that she's really one by one removing those obstacles, and the pathway toward her becoming Speaker is now stronger. Let's just have a look at Pelosi because, she is strong and experienced, and it's going to be a rough ride next year for the Democrats in the House with all these investigations going on. So will Nancy Pelosi be successful in January to be the next Speaker of the House? Nancy Pelosi, January, will she be the next Speaker of the House? Okay. So straight up we're seeing that that she's been sidelined a little bit. She's being left out. There may be some key dialogue discussions going on about whether she should be amongst these factions in the House now. Really, you've got to remember that the House has so many new members that they're not automatically just going to fall in line behind Nancy Pelosi, regardless of what anyone else thinks. They fought hard for their seats in Congress, some of them beating long-standing Republicans. And in a way, Pelosi is really circling around them really now, not being in the inner circle, but still there on the outside. So the Five of Pentacles is around isolation. and a bit of worry. So that's coming forward very strongly. These are the type of cards that I pulled before, although my clairvoyance showed her speaking, addressing the house as its next speaker. The cards said otherwise. So that's why I've had this ambiguity around her. And these are the cards as I pulled before. It's presently a very hard battle for her. She's putting in a lot of work. Doesn't necessarily mean she won't be the speaker. Let's slow up a bit. We're dealing with the present, okay? So in the past, yep, isolated, a little bit isolated. Present work, there's a lot of hard work. It's a bit of a burden for her. Her challenge, okay, this is how people see her, okay, a little bit too self-rule, a little bit too, it's all about Nancy Pelosi. It's this is the card of the really the moneyed, independent, privileged lady but it is all about self-rule. So again, this could also be the like as I alluded to earlier on, that the new Democratic representatives won't necessarily fall in line just because she's Nancy Pelosi. So these are her challenges, okay? And then in the future, we've got new jobs. Now this is looking a little bit brighter for Nancy, because this is actually saying that there actually will be this, I guess, new job and raise. So she has been the minority leader, but she hasn't necessarily been the Speaker of the House. So not in the last 2 years anyway. That job went to Paul Ryan. So this is actually looking a little bit better now, but really coming into the future, there's a lot of obstacles in her way, which is what my readings are picking up. And just mirroring that in the past, this was the card, or is the card, of disappointment. So I'm not sure that she expected the opposition to her, okay? So there's been a little bit of disappointment coming along there for her and her supporters. And this hard work is because people are judging her, okay? This is the Hierophant, and this is indicating this judgment coming forward for Pelosi. And as we can see from the media reports, that's exactly what is happening. The different factions are making these judgments. And her challenge is people want new beginnings, okay? This is the Fool. This is endings and beginnings. That is her challenge. She's been around for a long time, and people are going, hang on, we need a new way of doing things. We want to start again, start afresh. And that is her challenge at the moment. They don't want more of the same, they want the new. But here we go, the King of Cups, okay? And this is mirroring this new job for Nancy Pelosi, and I would assume that would be as Speaker of the House. She is the strongest, probably one of the strongest candidates they've got there. She wields a lot of authority, because the King of Chalices, and this can be a man or a woman, so let's not get sidetracked thinking that it is a man. I think this might have been the trouble with my first reading, as I read this as a man coming forward, but really what it is a strong leader coming forward, and really one that can show widespread empathy and understanding. It's like the great parent. So this is the elder, and this would fit with Nancy Pelosi. She's 78 or something like that. She is an elder, okay? And that's what the House needs at this point in time. So yes, this is looking quite positive for Nancy, but as I said, interesting to do these readings progressively on the battle leading up to January for the vote for her to be the next Speaker of the House. It's interesting to see how the cards are fluid in keeping with the unfolding events. And the Emperor, again, mirroring being left out in the past. I guess this is the change of fortune. I guess for Pelosi, that it was looking like in the past that she was going to lose the speakership, but in actual fact, we can see the progression now. The Emperor is kind of the head, the top dog, and that the top dog. That's an awful saying. It's like the strategic planning. It's like the ultimate king, boss. We can see the future melding. Flowing toward that end. And the King of Pentacles, again, we're pulling all these kings, okay, in the present. this is, I think, mirroring that it is hard work for Nancy Pelosi, and I think this is because there may have been some deals that she might have done in the past with various people, various moneyed interests that is going against her. Okay, people have had enough of that. They've seen what happened with Trump and the Republicans. Nancy may well be at present, because we're talking about the present, may well be being called into account for these kind of donations and backers and interests that have been in democratic politics in the past. And what is challenging her is the young members of Congress. This is the Knight of Swords coming forward with their sword of truth. And this is a knight, okay, so it's someone who's prepared to go into battle. They are prepared to go into battle to perhaps, to have a different speaker. And the Two of Pentacles mirroring the Ace of Pentacles, this new job for Nancy in the past. She will have to consider the, really now she's got to work with all the new members of Congress, and this is really indicating the weight of the multiple forces that are going to be upon her. It's not going to be an easy job for Nancy Pelosi, not at all. But she is the most experienced person there to do the job. Is she going to be successful in doing it? She's got to work with that Mitch McConnell in the Senate. She'll have to work with Trump. Is she up to the job? No wonder they're battling so much. They really want to make the right choice, don't they? It's critical, this position. Will she be able to? Is she up to it? Oops. Well, let's do that again. Is Nancy Pelosi, will she do the job that's required as Speaker of the House? Yeah, there's going to be a lot of obstacles there. This is the card of obstacles being put in her way. It's, as I thought, not going to be easy for her. But here she goes, coming with her own... She is her own queen. She's sitting on the throne. So, it's looking good for Nancy, I think, at this point in time. As I said, my other readings on Patreon were very ambiguous, and I didn't feel as though we were done with the issue yet, and indeed I don't think we are. I think, we've got a long way to go till January. And it is showing that she's really, if you had have asked a month, just after the midterms at the beginning of November, if you had have asked if she'd be the next speaker, I possibly would have said probably not, based on those past cards. But we can see the progress of the issues here for Nancy Pelosi, and it is looking more positive for her. Now, viewers, I do go through and look at the questions that all viewers asked, and it is, it's hard to get to everyone because, you just can't. But one of the questions was, will she, if Trump and Pence had that downfall, there was a small window of time in the lead up to 2020. As the Speaker of the House, I think she is next in line after Trump and Pence. It would have been Paul Ryan if he had been the Speaker, or whoever it is, McCarthy, incoming Speaker, if the Republicans had been successful. But would it be Nancy Pelosi? Would she be an interim president? Is a job going to fall to her late in 2019, for example? Let's have a look. Interim president. Will Nancy Pelosi be an interim president? 2019. If Trump leaves, Pence goes down, will Nancy Pelosi take over as president? Ooh, okay. Okay, well, look, we're getting the Hangman, okay, which is stalemates. It could, what does that mean? State of limbo, almost, which is indicating some kind of interim role, but not with full. Okay, so grief and loss is coming forward here as a challenge. The Ten of Pentacles is coming forward as, this legacy, an inheritance indeed. She may well be. I mean, it's hard really, to be definitive. After battle, this is the card of after battle. It would be a battle for her to be an interim president, most definitely. And it could be after battles. That's what might come forward. The Wheel of Fortune turning. Yeah, there'll be unsettled times, that's for sure, and there will be loss and grief coming forward. The Five of Cups is all about, it's abuse, and it's potentially very, very unsettled conditions. It's hard really to say in this reading. There's definitely unsettled conditions late in 2019 with the Wheel of Fortune turning. It could be turning in her favour. There's a lot of grief and anxiety. There's stalemates and things being in limbo. There's the battle weary card. Can we have some Five of Chalices? Is she interim period? Is she interim president in a period of loss and unsettled? Later on in 2019. Can we have some clarity on the Five of Cups? New beginnings. Yeah, okay, possibly new beginnings, and the Hierophant comes forward as the courts coming into play. Okay, there is some indication she may step forward in a very interim way, for a very short time, but it wouldn't, in this period of loss and anxiety for the country. The Wheel of Fortune turning again away from Trump towards something else. It could be that she steps up for a very short time. A very short time in the run up to 2020, but it could be like she actually, because McConnell is there as the Senate leader. It would be a very unprecedented situation, and I think this is what this card is saying, that there would be an element of things being in limbo. So I really, indications possible, but I think that that whole area would be a very difficult thing. It might be there's some sort of interim bridge for a very, very short time, of which she is a part of that. But there's showing a lot of unsettled conditions there in the future. So in summary, it's showing that she possibly now will take the job of the Speaker in January, but it's really hard work at the moment, and there's a big push to have someone new in there, and her past in a way is going against her in relation to the deals that she may have done in the past, the money, that kind of connection there with donors, and the new beginnings that people want. But it is showing a new job for her, and that could well be the Speaker of the House in the future. So I'll leave it there, viewers. I hope you enjoyed that reading.